have you ever had the phone ring and at that exact time the phone's ringing, you were thinking about that person in your head? Well, I think we've all experienced that, and it seems to have sped up lately. And that is a form of mental telepathy. And so today I have a holistic practitioner and an expert in this field and many others. She's also a psychic medium and a healer, and I'll let her tell you about the modalities. Susan Bischak. So Susan, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, great. And you're listening to Balance Your Life podcast, Our Evolving Consciousness, and I'm Deb Peterson. So Susan, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into all this? Were you always psychic? Were you always?
Well, I do mention that I do have a book that I put out, and first chapter I started the introduction to how did I get to where I am. Where did it begin? I can say that it's DNA, and maybe it isn't, because you know it's pretty widely accepted that we all have this, but we ignore it.
Yes, we talk about that a lot.
We just ignore it.
We ignore that gut feeling,
or
that
gut feeling, and so for me it started that I was visiting my grandmother, and my cousins were next door. My mother said, well, if they go out and do something, help your grandmother some way.
Okay.
I was like, okay. So they went off shopping with their parents, and I took in the laundry, and then my mind, here's the thing, my mind was open. What do I do next? Well, my grandmother and her sister, who I had no idea had these gifts, were on the other side, and my grandmother was saying, clean the steps to go up to the second floor.
Okay.
So I just go, maybe I'll clean the steps. And I walk around to get the little dustpan and everything. I'm starting to go up the steps, and they're standing behind me. All of a sudden I go, why? And my grandmother says, you're different than your cousins. What's that mean? And she goes, you're an old soul. And walked away. That's all she ever said. But 6 months after she died, I wanted to know everything about everything.
Right.
Immediately.
Okay.
As fast as possible. And I'm still learning.
Wow, after all these years, yeah.
Yeah, but realize someone in her day and age couldn't do the things openly that I am doing.
Right. No, right.
It's such a
we've evolved so much with that, right? It's so much more accepted. No, I know. I grew up with an Italian grandmother who used to run around telling us, my angels told me this, and then she'd tell us something, and then we'd be like, okay. So we just grew up like with her doing that, and then she was always right. I mean, with things that were happening, she would sort of be giving us predictions, and that type of thing, and it was just like second nature to us, growing up that way. But yeah, it was a long time ago, and. I don't think she was out of the closet, so to speak, to other people.
Yeah, well, my grandmother was in the Bronx for many years before they moved, up country into New York State. And I found out after she passed from one of the daughters, said, didn't you know that she did readings in her apartment? I said, really? Yeah, in the neighborhood, go see Lizzie.
Right.
They have a problem, and that was her nickname. And what was it? Well, they just have a cup of coffee and in the kitchen, and they talk. And from somewhere, they didn't know where they got this information is what the person needed to hear. And
that is so fun. Adina's not with us today, but she had the same thing with her mother. Same thing in Brooklyn. Like almost identical story to what you were just saying with her mom.
Yeah, grandma was my grandmother, but whatever.
Yes,
but now years later, like, why? How was she doing that? And I go, she's listening to the person across from her while she's listening for the message.
Right.
And then it just goes, there you are.
And that's how you
do it.
And
simple as that. She didn't have cards, So I do intuitive readings like I did on Sunday. So it was either mediumship or a mix of both of the intuitives. I didn't have any cards. There's cards all over around me. I had to do something different.
No, I like that. I think the cards, too, a lot of times, they're just a tool.
But they are.
People don't need them. They just, sometimes I think they think the customer or whatever, the client needs them. They just want to see something. Yeah. But I think that everyone, like you, they don't really need the cards.
No, because a lot of the readers, because I did study that, of course, you can be looking at the cards and you go, well, that actually means, but in this case, I'm really looking at the card and there's a snail. And it's going to take a really long time, but be patient because she's looking at a snail. Or
right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's what your eye went to. There's your hint.
Right.
Zero in on specifics because,
Right. And so how do you get your information? Are you a clairvoyant? Are you clairsentient? Or you just
I'm
know?
clairvoyant mostly.
Okay.
Very, very visual.
Okay.
Very visual. So when those people sat down on Sunday, I'd introduce myself. I said, so the way I get the information, it's like there's a whiteboard, and they put a word up there.
Okay.
I mean, they actually spell it out, you know.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Oh, okay. And then the other things are just come through me. I get whole scenarios of stuff.
I've had other people say it's like watching a movie screen or a TV. Does that? But,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
like
little glimpses. I'm looking at the person, you know, mediumship-wise, trying to describe their body build. And sometimes there's tricky things like, well, she was kind of overweight. And I said, no, I'm seeing her much, much older. Oh, yeah, she died of cancer, and she kind of, you know, wasted away. It's like, that's when I'm seeing them. So then you got to, which, you know, and they love to be seen in their best, of course. Right. But some make a point of showing, because that's how
they died. Okay,
that's how I looked, and that's the last way you might remember me, kind of thing. Yeah,
that's so interesting. And then I know you have to kind of decipher, right, the language. It's not like they're speaking English to you.
Yeah, and
that's
then
the tricky part.
What's the person's name? And like, well, an interesting one I told you about was someone who couldn't make it Sunday, and so we did something over the phone. Okay. And it was the brother. I mean, you had that clue, but other relatives came in. And I go, what's TH? She goes, oh, okay. His name was Theodore. They called him Teddy. And like, okay. And B, well, that's the sister that passed before him. Like, oh, okay. Well, she was there to greet him and get him accustomed to how things were. Right. But in the end, I find out, wait a minute, when did he graduate? He graduated when I graduated.
In the same high school. Yeah, that's crazy.
And we were both nobodies.
Well...
So, like, he went to the reunion last minute, and I said, but I'm a nobody. I'm not going to go.
Oh, that's so
it was like him telling me, you could have gone and had a nice time.
Right. Of all the people that you're coming to,
of all the people,
I mean, it is divinely guided.
I am sure. They know what's going on. I am sure he told his sister to choose me. Because
I actually chose you for the sister. Which she had no idea who you were. Yeah, and no, it's just, but look crazy, how that all works because, and actually, I didn't even speak to the sister. I spoke to the sister's friend who said she can't make it, and I said, well, wait a minute, why don't we try to, why don't we do it on the phone, kind of thing, and then I said, what is she looking for, do we think? So I would know who to put her with, and then she said, I think she wants to talk to her brother passed away. So I was like, oh, okay, Susan. Okay. So that's how it happened. So it's all divinely
it was
guided,
very much
right?
Guided, yes,
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up,
No, and that's what I love, the surprises that happen with that. And y'all say, well, such and such, and they burst into tears of something I told them that was just so so triggering for them. It's like, wow, okay, that was important to know.
That must be very gratifying for you.
It can be, I keep the box of tissues nearby.
Right.
I should have on Sunday.
Well, that's okay.
But it's interesting. And then other things that blow me away, and because I'm very visual, I got into the past life regressions early on.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about past life stuff. That's so interesting.
It is. It fascinated me because I am so visual. I'm watching a movie of me in another body at another time period.
I love it. That must be kind of cool to see yourself. And how did can I just ask you, did you do that with assistance or you did it on your own?
Just a guided meditation.
Wow, okay. Well, you're so open, so.
I do. So it was easy for me to go off and experience, like one in particular, like it was very tactual. I woke up in a feather bed, and what does a feather bed feel like? Like, oh.
That's interesting.
I had that sense of the bed, and then like, okay, she's just asking, so who else is in there? Oh, there's my parents. Oh, okay. And you can kind of look in the eyes because you're connecting souls. They say, look in their eyes. Do you recognize who they are? I mean, that's what I ask anyway. Okay.
Oh, when you're working with someone. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about your own experience.
My own. Yeah, I'm just putting in there that that's one way you can connect and say, how do I know them? So the mother then is my husband now.
Okay.
The father then is my father now.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And then there was something that came up that's like echoing exactly something we were repeating now. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. But then again, I was like, okay, and the scenario switched, and I'm walking on this narrow street, and it's just this kind of light here and a light there. It's very low lit. It's like dawn. I'm going to the market. I'm like, okay, with my basket. And I go, why is the light like that? Oh, because there's only candles. This is what it looks like when you're walking down the street and people are waking up at dawn and they got little candles. Like, there was just so...
So do you know where you were or what the time period was?
Yeah, well,
Can you get all that?
Not sure the time period, but it probably
but before
was...
electricity?
Yeah, there's way before that.
Yeah.
It could have been, 1700s or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they just sent me to the market to get stuff, whatever.
And I just find it so fascinating how, I think a lot of people know these days that, or if you believe, that we're reincarnated in the past life and the lessons are all connected and how, like if you do the past life regression, I feel like people can have insight, right? To help them in this life.
Yes, I would say, as I was kind of showing, there was right away of relationships that I'm having now.
Right, like you said,
different.
The same people are in different capacities, or the same with your dad, right?
Yeah, well, my husband has been my mother, he's been my brother, has been my son, and now I'm married to him.
Right.
Okay, we've been around together a while.
Right. Well, then we could talk about the soul group thing, right? And how you mostly go.
Yeah, you kind of change partners.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Change roles. Yeah.
But you go around with the same souls mostly.
Yeah, typically do that. I know there was some, when I was studying it, there was some family in Mexico that managed to figure out all the different lifetimes they've been together, but it was the same family.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
So something that comes up along that is when you're talking way soul groups, so they're all up there, okay, deciding what we're going to do when we come down. There's the belief that we all have a contract.
Sure.
We talked about it, and we're trying to plan our life and see what we can learn.
And we plan it simultaneously with those people, right?
Those people. So it was someone could be choosing out of love to say, I'm going to be that one that, all right, just doesn't make it horrible, but breaks your heart.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that so that you learn.
Right, because it's all about the learning.
And hearts and love and all those different aspects. So, but they can do it out of love. That's the point I want to make.
Right, and I know some of the terrible things that happen, right, or we're already contracted with someone, and it's hard to remember that when bad stuff happens here on this lovely...
Yeah, I just picked like broken heart as opposed to other things that can happen.
Of course.
Or someone steals or something like,
right.
Yeah,
and
so
it's all to
different
help us.
role playing. But there's so much learning in life. It's just what we're here to learn from. And supposedly, it's one of the only planets that have as many emotions as we have here.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
And the freedom to do more and explore more.
Because of our free will, is that?
We have a lot of free will.
Right.
Yeah, so
with
that free will, we go back to being telepathic or paying attention to what you're feeling about a certain situation.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, about how those, the
And that happened to me recently, and you can be on this planet a while and still have to learn that lesson that you have to pay attention if you're getting a strong no.
Okay, right, and that's probably a big one, yeah.
And it was a big one, and I should have stuck with no, but there.
I mean, a big one for a lot of people, though, not just you.
You can be a people pleaser, like I was trying to be,
right?
And like I should have stuck with no, because when I went ahead, wow, what a complicated mess I got into. Someone else's whole drama and drawn into it. I didn't even want to be part of that.
No, but I guess you learned the lesson, right?
I should have stayed with no. So now I have a bad feeling about why did you even. So now I'm like criticizing myself. Okay, it's a lesson. It's a lesson.
Right.
And you don't stop learning.
Right.
And how many lessons, the same, hopefully, that it takes before you really wake up.
Right.
I think that one I hope was the last one about waking up and paying attention.
Well, if you got it, right, then...
It's like, okay, it's very clear now.
Right. It's funny, because somebody was asking the other day something about that. How do you know, when you get the lesson? And it's like, well, when you break the pattern, right, or the... things that keep on occurring, maybe in lifetimes.
Repeat that.
Yeah, right. Don't do that. And you go a different way or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I tried to say that as an answer, in my limited knowledge. And then she just didn't even get that. Oh, and she was kind of like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I try to give an example, and say, well, when you get, like maybe you marry the same type of person, right? That's a common one. that
you married
get
your father.
I mean like say you're married, then you get a divorce, and then like the next time you get married, you're marrying the same type of person. Right. It's the same patterns, whatever is happening. Yeah. Again, then you maybe do it again, and it's like, when do you get it that you're going to get away from that type of person or change the dynamic? Yeah. Right. It's kind of interesting. Well, let's talk about the telepathy a little bit. How that works. I don't know, because that's what that we all have that. I think everybody can relate. Like I said, when the phone rings and then you look and you go, oh, I literally was just about to call that person, or I'm just thinking of that person. It just happened
yesterday that I go, wow, I haven't heard from that person in a while, and they communicate through WhatsApp because they travel different parts of the world. So I go, I think I'll hear from them. And that evening, yes.
You did. Yep. See, I don't think, I don't know you, because you're more intuitive.
Okay, but he said, I was thinking of you. So I'm not surprised, you being who you are, were the first one to respond to say, hi, how you doing?
Right, that's funny. But I feel like, this happens just in everyday life. If we want to say obviously we know everyone has intuition, but sometimes, it's not recognized or whatever. So, but I think everybody can kind of relate to those little type of things like that happen. And if you really pay attention, to me, I feel like they've sped up.
I think more of that energy is coming in.
Right.
And it's, I have a cousin that's very gifted like myself, but she could see when she was in a crib that there's somebody in my room, Mom and Dad, and they go to sleep, there's nobody there, but there's a man in you. So poor Dorothy. Oh. Yeah, she had that sight early. Okay. And so she's got her talents too. So we're very close. But we had a family gathering, asked the other cousins, so we're all the same, group, and saying, why don't you pay attention to these things? Oh, I kind of do, and then I don't really. Like, gosh, you're just missing out on so much.
Right. And it kind of is like you're lined up then with like perfect timing, right?
It's cool when you're like,
it's so cool.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
I know. Or
I was just thinking of you and you called, right? Yeah.
Or even just when, there's a situation where it ends up being like the perfect thing, and you look backwards and go, how did this happen? Kind of like what we were just talking about with that client, but, just with all kinds of things. And you really... It's really amazing how things line up and how things happen at the perfect time, and they're really, I feel, divinely guided.
Right. Yeah.
If you pay attention,
If you pay attention to these little things.
Or look at it and say,
So my advice is to start paying attention.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us a little, some tools or tips or anything maybe that you want to, how do we pay attention
more?
Well,
it's also, you could say, if we all have guides, I am open to learning. I am open to experiencing, getting more information that you can give to me. Okay. And if you're going to do it by little signs and things like that, and it could be telephone calls. Their contact.
I just use that as an example,
but
it's
such a common
because it's such a right.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And other telepathy is a lot of times it doesn't matter how far people are away, that they may be having a tough time, and you should call. And I had that with my brother. He went off to Colorado a few days before, so he's in his home in Colorado. And for some reason, I said, call him. It's like, well, okay. Just did he settle in? Okay, everything fine at home. And I found out things were not fine.
Right.
So like, wow, okay. And he really needed me with the intervention of my healing modalities to help.
Right.
Him very much so. He needed me.
Yeah, well, that's, again, you paid attention.
I paid attention.
Right. I mean, how many times?
To death.
Right.
He wasn't doing anything. Oh.
Like sometimes, you get those feelings and then you just don't listen to them, or, I should call that person. Oh, well, I don't have time now. I'll call them later, kind of thing.
So
and
it was a great comfort that I contacted him, and it was open for me working with him, and the next day he was fine.
That's great. Right.
Like, wow, that
really
amazing.
Is like why we should pay attention when these little, sometimes they're subtle.
Yes,
right?
Well, that's the thing.
That's what's.
Then you gotta. Is that really speaking to me?
Right.
But that happens. Either it hits you over the head,
right,
or
usually when you're not listening, right?
It can be very subtle, right. And those things you'll get more coming your way. It's like I explain to people: if I am talking to you, but you're not paying attention, how many times are going to keep trying to talk to you? But if you start listening, well, now you're encouraging me to have more of a conversation and more of a connection.
Right. That's a good point.
And it could be multiple guides helping you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about an exciting event that we have. And if you're local, it is in New Jersey, in Bergen County and Ridgewood.
You can certainly fly in if you'd like to.
Yes, please fly in. But it's Sunday, March 23rd. And we are going to have a panel of intuitives that are world-renowned, also healers and mediums.
Mediums, and all of which who have been guests on our podcast.
Yes.
So you've had a chance to get to know them, hear about them.
Or you can certainly go back and listen to their podcast. But we have some really great people, and they are there to talk about the power of intention, which is our title this time, and give their different perspectives on that. And we'll probably jump in with that too.
We always do.
Because we like to.
But they will answer your questions, and the really cool thing is you're going to get guidance from more than one intuitive. Right? So
at least two, if not all the panelists jump in, because they
of,
can't control themselves, honestly. But that's okay.
And even when you're not called on, somehow miraculously your questions are answered. It's an incredible vibration.
Yeah, it's a great energy in the room. It will raise your vibration and your frequency just by being there.
Yeah.
But if you have questions, you're seeking clarity, or just anything you want to know about in any aspect of your life, right? Relationships, love, career.
We never know what's going to happen, but it's always amazing.
Right. Just come with your questions and look forward to getting them answered by our amazing panelists.
And please remember to subscribe below and like us so that we can continue to bring you incredible guests. And
thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Do you want to? I don't want to put you on the spot, but sometimes when we have people on, they end up doing like a little demo of something. I don't know. They'll do a reading, they'll do a message, they'll send, or we also have a lot of people talking about what they see, maybe coming up for 2025, or just in general the energies, because we know everything's shifting, right? And we're supposed to be moving to the fifth dimension. So, I mean, any comments or any thoughts on that, or anything you want to share?
all the astrology is saying it's going to be a really bumpy ride for the next 2 years.
Yeah,
There's going to be so many rapid changes. We're going to be
heard that.
Like we're on quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
So now
we got to keep open and keep flowing with the energy, right? And that's
the changes have to happen.
Right, they do. Mm-hmm.
And hopefully for the good.
Yes.
That's the best we can hope for. So on those lines, I would say for everyone, for all our futures, not knowing what is best, but we want peace. We want things to settle down and everybody to be able to live their lives in freedom. Picture, even in other things, your career or whatever you want in life, picture like you already have that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly you can picture that, the better with the details.
Okay.
Clarity. And then be grateful as if it already happened.
Right. That's a big one. Yeah, that's, law of attraction.
Law of attraction.
We talk about that a lot.
A little snippet, I should say. So, picture it as if it already happened.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then also, as my friends have put in, or something better.
Oh, okay. Yes.
God might have something better in mind that you had not imagined.
Right. Usually.
Then I'd want that, of course.
Right.
The best.
That's right. Or also some people add, for your highest and best self, or
you can put it that way.
Yeah. Or for everyone involved, kind of thing.
Because in the end, you're not in control. So if they got a better plan for you, I'm all for that.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about your book a little bit? Because I found it so fascinating, I have to say.
I am so happy.
Loved it. Yeah, well, I wanted to get to it. I wanted to read it for a while, and then we had a nice snowstorm, so it was perfect, because I'm like, that's it. I'm sitting down and I'm reading it. And then I couldn't put it down. I just read it all in one sitting, basically. And it wasn't what I was expecting from the title.
Okay.
I don't know. Or maybe from knowing you, I had a preconceived notion, I don't know what I thought. But I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Healing a Desperate Heart.
Healing a Desperate Heart. And I just put that back out. So Barnes & Noble have it as an ebook, and I'm hoping to get some printed copies soon. But
okay, great.
The original I have here. Okay, this is
if
what it looks like
looking,
originally.
yeah.
That's the first copy.
Mm-hmm.
I telepathically was telling my friend what I would like her to create, and she did.
Oh.
She's in Germantown, New York. She's a fantastic artist.
Oh, okay.
I showed
pretty.
up, and it was almost exactly what you're looking at now. She had
and you didn't even talk
changes.
about it.
I just said, I want this kind of a heart, but it's not a real heart, and I want this color gradation, and boom. Oh my gosh,
right.
I said there wasn't much. But when changing to a different publishing, which I'm the publisher now.
Okay.
I asked her to create another one. I said I'd like kind of an angelic effect in the background.
That's nice, yeah.
So she did that, all angel wings in the
background. Yeah, love that.
So it's a really nice cover. So
well, congratulations. I think that's great.
Shout out to Dia Archbold up in Germantown.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
So I wrote the book. If someone even reads the preface, I said you get it. It's bringing an Eastern philosophy into my practice.
Okay.
And whether it's biofield tuning, using tuning forks, or other things, if I'm getting to the emotion, then that's very important. Mm-hmm. And the example there is a friend of mine I've known now a long time, but he said he had a decision to make when he got cancer. He's Japanese and he's American. He's been here, citizen, but he decided to go to Japan for treatment. Well, they did the surgery stuff the same. He said, but someone came into the room and handed him a journal and said, write why you attracted this.
Right. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I know a lot of European countries are way ahead with that, with the holistic modalities being part of the traditional medicine system.
And that's the new German medicine. That's that title. Yes. Because his son passed away, and that was the jolt that caused him the upset that ended up giving him cancer.
Wow.
So he got into that very deeply. So when you're talking about Eastern medicine philosophy, it's like, okay, let's say I'm scanning the body, and I can do that. I can, whatever. I guess so many things I can do. But
let's do it. Go ahead. I mean, you can do it.
Let's say we go to someone's liver and say, okay, well, how much anger do you have that you've been holding on, and for how long, and why?
Right.
Why do you still want to do that?
Right, you really have to get to the root.
So to finish with the book, and it's my memoir about my situation, who are two people that hurt me the most, and how can I reconcile with that? Mm-hmm. Because if you keep thinking of a person, it gives you a pain in the heart, or this feeling all the time. Every time that song comes on the radio, and
it's just you're replaying
that stuff is like,
yeah.
It's like, yes. So this is like, I did a soul retrieval on myself. You speak with shamans, you're doing a soul retrieval. When you go back to when that tragedy or trauma happened, how were you at that age? Mm-hmm. What was your knowledge about life and things like that, so that you're still 16. Part of you.
You're stuck in that.
You're stuck in that mindset. So your part of you is still reacting like a 16-year-old. But you have the knowledge of someone who's older. So then you look back at it and kind of rework it. With me, I actually went what they call the boogeyman.
Okay.
And I went right to him on emails.
Oh, okay.
And so, because if that hadn't been invented, then that would have been a problem doing what we did.
Yeah, that's great. And then it ultimately led to your whole healing.
Yeah.
You had quite the journey there.
It was quite a journey, and all this metaphysical stuff coming in.
Excuse me, I apologize. I had some water, but no, keep talking. I'm sorry.
Did I bring mine? No? Okay. Anyway, it's there if I need it. So yes, that's with a personal journey. So it's a memoir.
Yeah.
So bring that into.
But
your
I'm sure
life.
and you use that on your clients.
The idea from then on, I understood that you have to bring in. It was mentioned to me when I was studying Touch for Health, and an herbalist. I was studying with her, but she also taught Touch for Health, and she was saying, about this and the connections and the Eastern philosophy.
Sure.
So I brought it in, and it makes so much sense. We did a previous event, and someone was getting what we call the biosyntony session.
Yes.
The earth energy coming up.
Yep.
And she's just sitting there like you are, and the energy's coming up through her like this.
Yeah.
And it's very simple because you can just sit there and let your body decide what to do with that energy. Okay, so she's talking, and she's saying something about this kind of area bothering her, and I said, well, this and that part, I just all of a sudden was just prompted to say, well, at that part of the spine, there's a connection to the bladder. She goes, I was getting a lot of UTIs. It's like, okay, I'm making a note of that. A lot of UTIs, all right. And then she's sitting there saying, well, the energy now was here, now the energy's in my throat. And I go, okay, so you can't talk about it.
Oh.
So what is it that you're afraid of? This is fear.
Okay.
That you won't talk about. This is communication. She's
well, and people aren't watching, so your throat is communication, and your lower abdomen is the fear, your power center.
Bladder is fear. Kidneys could be fear too. I mean, you kind of take it. Sometimes you blur with the person. You kind of figure it out, because intuition can still come in.
Sure.
And really be correct about it. So anyway, I found out what was going on in her life, and it was like big psychological battle going on.
Wow.
And until that is resolved in her home, she's going to keep getting UTIs. That's why she's getting those.
And
UTIs.
it's so interesting how they manifest, as a UTI, right? And for someone else, it could manifest as something else. It's just, the emotions really...
very strong. So if you keep having that emotion, this is the idea. Having the emotion out here, and you have it, and eventually you're going to have a physical problem.
Yeah.
But the physical problem started here, and you want to get to the root of the problem. Of course you do.
Yes.
Regular medical approaches don't. So I embraced all these different ways of getting to the bottom of things,
which is wonderful.
Is it the past life that you actually need? Is this a relationship thing? Is this a phobia thing?
No, that's great.
We could get into the past lives.
You got to get to the root.
I'm from column A, one from column B with me, kind of thing, because there's a number of approaches that I have. And I can work in your energy field and pick up things, all kinds of things that happen during your life. Yeah. And that'll come up that we need to raise the vibration of. And I can do it with the tuning forks, but more lately, I'll finish the whole session with the tuning forks. They come in like this, I'm kind of getting them more evened out.
Okay.
And releasing some traumas in an easy way, but then in the end they go, my guides say, now we're going to pick the frequency.
Okay.
And they'll say, back to the liver again, because that's so common that comes up, like, okay, going to put hands on the liver, and let's say I'm talking with somebody, they're not with me, I'm working on them, but they're a hologram.
Okay. Yes.
And I'm analyzing them just like their body's there, and I go, okay, about the liver, so I know, go over here. And
you just do with the guidance.
Like the example, that there was a young guy, and he's experiencing this, and he's down in South Jersey, and he goes, so which side is the liver on? Because I'm just doing this as if I'm picturing the liver, and they're, simple, because I'm not doing the work. I'm just
You're a conduit. Yeah.
I'm the conduit. And so he goes, what side is it on? It's on the right side. Well, I kind of feel this. So it's like, yay, I love the idea of waking someone up to this is possible.
Yeah. Well, this has been my sort of my life's work for over 20 years. I started the Wellness Gals, to let people know that there are all these options that can be used in conjunction with traditional medicine. Like all these holistic options, Eastern medicine, whatever you want to call it. Like it needs to be integrated. You don't just, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor, but go to the doctor and do the other thing. Like with your friend, with the cancer and the journaling. Cancer, from what I understand from all of you, is that it's something emotional, always causing it, and it manifests itself as cancer.
Well, then you can go into statistics, and about 90% of our cancers are from the environment. It's so messed up. It's so polluted.
But I'm saying there's always emotional.
But there is emotional component.
Right, that happens.
When we go back to the new German medicine idea.
Right.
Yes.
So, it is. It's
been around for thousands of years.
It has been around for thousands of years. Right. I know. And that's what's funny. And people think, it's fairly new. I think people are more open to it now, though. We talk about this a lot. Like, really, that, when I first started this, everybody was like, what?
Well, they called it New Age.
Right.
It's really old stuff.
Yeah.
Brought to the now with the extra knowledge that we also have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I always had the philosophy, before I really knew anything about it, a friend led me, to somebody and said, we're going to this healer. And I was like, okay, what the heck is that? But, okay, I don't care. I didn't care. I just said, you know what? It can't hurt, so let me go and try. And then there were amazing results. So, and then I, started out doing all this, but there's so many modalities that can help people.
And you're helping to get them noticed, and the practitioners that do them.
Right, that's it. The world needs to know. So, we love that you're on today. Thank you for coming on with me and talking about all this.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff we can talk about.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say to the audience? Anything you want to leave?
In the age of AI, we're kind of, I do feel a little threatened.
Okay.
And so I've been recently watching something by Greg Braden, who has his own new book out.
Okay.
He churns them out like crazy, but he's a brilliant man. Anyway, he's saying this AI can never be what a human is.
Right.
Because we are divinely connected.
Right.
And the AI will never have that.
Sure.
They will never have that.
Mm-hmm.
So just realize that,
Yes, that's good. That's a good note.
He was cautioning about all these things they could implant in you and said, you will no longer be human if they do that.
Right, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, a whole nother thing. So he was just saying, we are special.
Right. And we are all connected, right? We're all a piece of the divine, really.
Yes.
So
yep, every one of us.
We have to remember that
mm-hmm.
as we go about our daily lives, Easy to get caught up and, forget that. But
yeah,
it is a good anchor to remember.
And, I like working with the earth energy and with the biosyntony. It's so interesting that it has the innate intelligence to know what to do with the energy once it's
I love that. That's great. Yeah.
It's like you go to an acupuncturist and they will decide how to move the energy around in the body. And I studied acupressure and touch for health, so it's like it's really cool if you do this, this, and this to get it over there. Take away from here and add over there, and how that works. But in this case, the practitioner isn't even involved.
Right. Just tell people how it works. They're sitting down. I mean, I've seen it, but explain it a little bit.
There are ceramics involved, and they have different microcrystalline materials in them, and it's how you set them up, how they were created with which materials. All this is in the background. But as a practitioner, you pretty much just know the way to set it up so that the magic just happens.
And people just sit on top of...
Oh, that's the easiest one. The rest, they're all laying down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's many different...
And then your body just receives the energy from it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of testimonials. I would say go to the testimonials on my SusanBischak.com, and you'll find a lot of the modalities explained and testimonials for each of them.
I know you do a lot, so
yeah,
appreciate you sharing all of it with us.
Yeah, so I
appreciate
going. The opportunity to let people know you're out there. Yeah, I'm out there. Yes, I've been here for a long time.
Right, that's okay. Yeah, well, now's the time. We talk about this all the time. That it's
well,
it's time now, right?
Well, all the healers should be helping people now because it's getting so crazy. Right. And we need something to help keep us balanced.
I agree, and I think a lot of people realize that more now. More so now than ever. So, well, thank you.
Yeah.
All
now,
right,
there's something
Susan.
that keeps bothering me over here on
What's
you.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
Is there anything bothering you over there?
Oh, you mean physically?
Yeah.
On this side?
Energetically.
No, but on this side, I have a bit of sciatica. That's why I keep crossing and uncrossing my legs.
Okay, so with what we previously discussed, I think it has about moving ahead. You're making changes now.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the joints.
Yes.
Here, and the ankles and the feet. If there's anything I'm seeing off, so you could say one. It's funny though, one hip can compensate for the other hip.
Yeah. Okay. So this is probably compensate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This one's bothering you. Then you have to. So I'm seeing the compensation over here. This still makes perfect sense.
Okay.
But then we put it together with what's behind this,
right?
And this is about
how I'm making some moves.
So you are literally physically
moving the whole studio, right,
to a new place.
Yes.
So There's a simple example.
So what do I do then
it's just going to work its way through. I wouldn't say don't see a chiropractor if in your pain. Still do that, because then you still be taxing the other one.
Right.
Cause problems there. So
I do that.
So good.
Interesting.
So you're keeping after it. But there's an example like, what's behind that?
Right.
What's going on in your life?
That's cool. Yeah.
Right. So you're in the process of moving, and you're kind of awkward right now. So it's a little pain.
Yeah. Right.
It's a little bit of a
perfect.
pain.
Well said. Yes. Thank you. That's interesting.
You will
right.
Through it.
So you can see what's going on. Yeah. Can't really hide it.
So interesting way of looking at life.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in a doctor's office and gave that same example of that lady that was in front of me, with a bladder and this.
Yeah.
And she just didn't know what to do with it. She was a physician, Right. I said, well, I could just line up people and say, these are the problems.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the medical intuitive part.
Kind of thing, yeah. I'm just over to the Eastern philosophy coming in, but you just learn to work with these things. And as a practitioner, maybe there's others like me that forget to just ask for the people that
that's good.
I would work best with.
There you go.
Ask for the clients I could serve best.
Mm-hmm.
To be
That's
open to my modalities.
Fantastic.
Yes, often it's a real eye-opener, and they learn a lot about themselves.
True.
In the process. Of
Again, all meant to be, however it works out like that, divinely guided.
Yeah, and there's still professionals in the medical field that still could come see me.
Sure.
But I was never meant to be the psychologist, because you meet people in life and go, but they didn't seem to be helping people.
Right.
How come they're seeing those two sisters so many times and they're not better?
Right.
That was a teenager, so it's like, I guess I don't want to do that.
Right.
That's not working. I had to find
Well, keep doing
ways.
what you're doing, and again, thank you for being with us today. All right.
It was great. Thank
you. And we'll see you again next time.